Hey guys, Tyler here, and thank you for checking out my latest Marksman Hunter guide, this time for 12.0 and the first season of Midnight. In this video, I'll give you all the information you need to succeed on your Marksman Hunter, including builds, stat priorities, rotations, items to aim for, and much more. Over the last couple of weeks, we've seen several tuning passes which did delay this guide, but the great news is that Marksman Hunter is currently one of the best DPS specs in all three phases of the game, making this a perfect time to pick up your bow, line up your shot, and join the hunting expedition. So, let the clock strike midnight, and let's get started.
Mr. Eggplant presents...
There will be timestamps in the description of the video for each section, as well as the build strings found in this video. I'll keep updating this video until we get to 12.05, where there will be significant changes to Marksman Hunter, and specifically the return of Dark Ranger. But with that just hitting the PTR, we can focus our attention solely on getting the most out of our Marksman Hunters for the first raids of the expansion and the opening of Delves and Mythic Plus. And while you're down there checking the description, you can also find an invitation to my Discord server and information on the weak aura replacements I've been tinkering with using the in-game cooldown tracker. So just a quick overview of what's new in 12.0. Midnight brought several important changes and built on the War Within playstyle for both Sentinel and Dark Ranger. Some were well received, and others, not so much. Here's looking at you 2.5 second base cast time aim shot. But a few of those changes do include the removal of Streamline, the redesign of Lunar Storm, True Shot transforming into either of the hero spec signature ability, whether that be Moonlight Chakram for Sentinel or Wailing Arrow for Dark Ranger, Aim Shot critting 100% of the time thanks to our Apex talents, more on that here in just a second, an upgrade to Hunter's Mark, Dark Ranger being completely broken thanks to changes to Headshot, and the removal of Explosive Shot. And I did have to edit this because the PTR changes that they just pushed out are now fixing those last two, which I'm really excited about, but for now, we're going to act like I don't know that for the rest of this video. And because of that, I'll only have Sentinel Marksman Hunter builds in this guide, but as soon as we can find a way to make Dark Ranger work, they will return. And another edit here from the future. Sentinel is a ton of fun right now in all facets of the game. It's very smooth and performing very well. I'm just happy that they remembered that Dark Ranger does exist for something that's not BM, and those changes are coming very soon. Apex talents are one of the big additions for Midnight Season 1, and for Marksman, they all revolve around one thing: big, juicy aim shots. As mentioned earlier, the final Apex talent points make aim shot crit 100% of the time, and the other points simply help you get more aim shots out and have more damage done by your rapid fire, and overall boosting your damage. Getting points into these talents ASAP will help Marksman fill that sniper class fantasy that we all know and love. This section is normally at the very end of my videos, but it's so important that I get it out here in the forefront before you guys click away. But I've completely replaced all of the weak auras that you guys usually see in all of my videos with the in-game cooldown tracker. I have an 8-minute video, and there is a link that can be found down in the description of the video that will walk you through how to set them up from start to finish. I highly recommend them, and they add so much value to my play. And I had always used very basic weak auras, so they just track certain buffs like True Shot, Trick Shots, Bullseye stacks, and it can be completely customized and moved around to your liking. Before we get into our builds and stat priorities, let's take a look at our tier set bonuses for Season 1 of Midnight. Our 2 set increases the damage of our precise shot procs by an additional 20%, and our 4 set gives us a chance to shoot arrows at our target and deal damage to nearby enemies when we use our precise shot procs, whether that be arcane shot in single target or multi-shot in AoE. They're pretty straightforward and don't change our rotation at all, and the 4 pieces you'll want to aim for are going to be the helm, chest, gloves, and legs. Up next is our stat priority, and if you've played the War Within, this is going to look very, very similar. Our stat priority will go Agility, which is our main stat, then Crit Strike, then Mastery, Haste, and finally Versatility. But the nice thing is, there's really no bad secondary stats for you on your Marksman Hunter. As long as your gear has Crit on it, you should be good to go. This section is our talent builds, and the strings for each will be found down in the description, with an additional BG Blitz PvP when thrown in for fun. There will be different situational picks, particularly in the General Hunter or the left side of the Hunter trees, based on the content or the fight at hand. But as long as you're picking your defensives and your damaging abilities, you'll be good to go. This first build is a really solid delve/open world build with a pet by your side. If you're looking for a certain pet, I have a ton of pet tame videos on my channel, and you should see if you can find something there you like. One of my personal favorites is Gemhide, my turtle, who just so happened to help me get into the Hall of Fame for defeating the seasonal delve boss, Neleus. The second build on screen is my Mythic Plus/AOE build, which maximizes your single target damage for priority targets and bosses, while still doing great damage on trash and bigger pulls throughout the dungeon. This guide will not have any of the Hydra meme builds, so to speak, that is currently popular, as that seems to be an unintended bug and will most likely be fixed in the coming weeks. And the final build is my single target build for Raid, and there's a good mix of single target/2 target cleave fights in the Void Spire, and this build works nicely. And I'll have another video once March on Quel'Danas opens up for each build string that I'll be using for each boss fight. That video will also be found down below once it's released. Up next, we have our opener rotations. It's important to get the most out of our opener because that's where marksman hunters do a majority of our damage every 2 minutes during True Shot. The goal of both openers is to get a good flow going and make sure you use almost all of your precise shot procs. They're very important to your overall damage in Midnight thanks to our tier 1 set bonuses, and they help boost the damage of aim shot. So for your single target opener, you'll want to put Hunter's Mark on the target pre-pull because it's now a 3% damage buff. Then with 2 seconds or so left on the pull timer, cast your aim shot, then use Arcane Shot, then drop your volley, use Rapid Fire to start stacking Bullet Storm, then use True Shot, Aim Shot, Arcane Shot, Moonlight Chakram, which then gives you a lock and load proc, which you can use on an aim shot, then Arcane Shot, and so on. And if Rapid Fire resets, use it while you have an aim shot charge on cooldown. And for your AOE opener, you'll want to put Hunter's Mark on the target pre-pull, if possible, and then use Volley, then Rapid Fire to start stacking the Bullet Storm, and then use True Shot, Aim Shot, Multi-Shot, Moonlight Chakram, Aim Shot, Multi-Shot, and so on. And if you get a Rapid Fire proc, make sure you have Trick Shots up before you cast it and use it on cooldown. Next up, we have our rotation priority, and you'll find that the rotation is very smooth and pretty simple for Sentinel, even after the changes to cast time of aim shot. And with the builds I use in this video, you'll be able to master both single target and AoE with the same priorities. You'll just use multi-shot instead of arcane shot when spinning your precise shot procs. And the best news is we don't have to worry about dropping a bad Lunar Storm circle in Midnight, so we can just let our abilities rip and spend less time worrying about min-maxing a ground effect that your group can't see, and spend more time actually doing damage. So most importantly, you'll want to spend every one of your precise shot procs, or at least try to. You will see me skip using single stack precise shot procs when I'm setting up using rapid fire to go into a true shot burst window. They happen after each aim shot and each rapid fire if you are taking that talent. Some of my builds do, some of them do not. They reduce the remaining cooldown of your next aim shot charge, and they do a ton of damage. For single target, you'll use Arcane Shot, and for AoE, you'll use Multi-Shot. And Multi-Shot will also give you trick shots, which will allow you to cleave. From there, use your True Shot on cooldown. The best thing to do is have an aim shot ready to go in the chamber before you use it, and if you're in AoE, have trick shots up before you cast it so you can go right into that aim shot that will hit like a nuke. Then, use Rapid Fire on cooldown. This will give you stacks of Bulletstorm and a proc of Precise Shots if talented. And in Midnight Season 1, Apex talents will allow each hit of Rapid Fire, whether it's double tapped or not, to lower the remaining cooldown of your next aim shot charge. And in AoE, make sure you have trick shots up first. And next up is our hardest hitting ability, so use your aim shot so you don't cap out on charges. Aim shot is our main ability and will be even stronger in Midnight thanks to these new Apex talents, allowing it to crit 100% of the time. And in AoE, make sure you use multi-shot first so you can cleave thanks to trick shots or have volley up. Then you'll want to use said volley on cooldown. We don't take volley for the damage in single target or for AoE, but we do take it for double tap. Both true shot and volley will proc double tap, so never cast them back to back. Volley plus double tap is a great way to set up max stacks of Bulletstorm before launching your nuke of a true shot. Then, use your Moonlight Chakram as filler during your True Shot when you don't have a full set of aim shot charges, because it will provide lock and load in both builds. True Shot will transform into Moonlight Chakram after it's used, and an AoE Chakram can bounce to other targets, and you have access to one use of Chakram during your True Shot window. You'll want to have trick shots up before casting it so you can go right into that lock and loaded aim shot. And finally, use Steady Shot as needed for focus regeneration and to lower the remaining cooldown of your next aim shot charge. If you ever find yourself with nothing to do, cast Steady Shot. Always be casting. And for early season gearing, there are a few high priority targets that I would recommend in Season 1. Those would be the Puzzle Box from Algathar Academy, the Umbral Plume from the March on Quel'Danas raid, your embellishments in the form of World Tender's Root Slippers and World Tender's Bark Class from Leatherworking, and at least your 2-set tier bonus. Another great and easy pickup would be the Platinum Star Band Ring from Algathar Academy, which is a heavy crit over Mastery Ring. And the nice thing about Algathar Academy is there's only 5 items that can drop for you on a Marksman Hunter, so you want 2 of those 5, so you have a very good chance, 40% in fact, to get something that you are after on my BIS list. So we've done all this hard work, now let's put the final touches on our gear with enchantments and consumables. Max rank is preferred, but the pricing on these are just absolutely insane right now, so anything will do in this first month or so of raiding. So for your weapon, use Acuity of the Rindurai. For your helm, use Empowered Hex of Leeching. For your shoulders, use Flight of the Eagle. For boots, Far Strider's Hunt. For chest, Mark of the Root Warden. For legs, Forest Hunter's Armor Kit, and rings, Crit from Eyes of the Eagle. And you'll notice a lot of these are speed enchants, and the main reason behind that is the fact that a lot of people are going to struggle with the longer cast time of aim shot, so having more speed will help you get from place to place and dodge while you're trying to stand there for 2.5 seconds. And the consumables you'll want to collect on your Marksman Hunter will be the powerful Eversong Diamond for your Thalassian Diamond, for gems 1 each of your Flawless Deadly Lapis, Deadly Amethyst, Deadly Peridot, and all other sockets would be Masterful Garnet. For your flask, use the Flask of Shattered Sun that gives crit. For your combat potion, use Light's Potential. For your health potion, use the Silver Moon Health Potion. For your oil, use the Thalassian Phoenix Oil. And finally, for your food buff, I choose the Royal Roast. Last but not least, we have the macros that I use on my Marksman Hunter. I don't use many and they're not flashy, but I would recommend adding a no channeling macro to most of your abilities so you don't clip or interrupt your rapid fire. Those can be found in my Discord in the macro/build/CD tracker section, where you can get all of the strings that you will see in all of my videos. And that's it for another guide. I'm really having a ton of fun here in the first couple of weeks of Midnight, and I hope you guys are as well. I hope you guys found something of value to take away from this guide, and I would love to get your feedback, as I always try to do new things each and every tier. What did you like? What didn't you like? What should I add? What should I remove? Please let me know down below. I strive to make content that you guys want to see here on YouTube, and I have a ton of videos headed your way, as well as live streams as we tackle Season 1 and beyond. I'll be documenting my progress each and every week in a video series if you'd like to go along for the entire ride. But best of luck to you in PvP, Mythic Plus, raiding, whatever you do in this game, and I'll see you next time.
Agreed? Is it greed? No greed. Only victory. Yeah!